Protests over the cost of fuel are continuing for a fourth day, with blockades in place at locations around Ireland. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has said that the blockades have caused a situation whereby Ireland is on the precipice of turning oil away from the country in the middle of a global oil supply crisis. In Cork, protesters allowed 2 tankers in to be filled at the Whitegate oil refinery, but a standoff with the Garda public order units took place when a third fuel tanker arrived. Government ministers met with representative bodies of farmers and hauliers to discuss further supports. 4 fuel protesters were denied entry to the meeting. It's estimated that by tonight, around 500 service stations across the country will run out of fuel.
A standoff between protesters and the public order unit in Whitegate in East Cork this afternoon. Garda trying to escort a third tanker into the country's only oil refinery based in East Cork. An oil tanker remains off the coast of Galway today. The port remains blockaded.
I don't think people out there perhaps realise the gravity of the situation, and particularly as it pertains to Whitegate and to the ports. We are now on the precipice of turning oil away from the country in the middle of a global oil supply.
Road users are feeling the impact of the blockades, both at the pumps and with delays on a large number of national routes. Healthcare workers also affected, and delivery service DPT Ireland has temporarily suspended services in the Republic for tomorrow. Motorists on the M50 have been faced with lane closures and delays, while O'Connell Street and O'Connell Bridge are still blocked.
I think this protest could continue on, maybe for another week, maybe 2 weeks. If it takes a month, we are prepared to sit here. If it takes to close the country down, we'll close the country down.
Has it been difficult to get around doing deliveries over the last couple of days?
It has, but this has to be done. So we'll go with it, whatever it takes. We started 3 or 4 hours earlier in the morning, so to get it done, but we got it done.
What are they hoping to achieve? And where's the government? The government is showing no action whatever. Yeah. So we're hostages to, breaking the law.
I have mixed views of it, really. I think they're overdoing it. They have a point, but they are overdoing it, so.
We need an undertaker.
Some demonstrators took their message to Leinster House this afternoon, coinciding with a nearby meeting between government ministers and representatives from farming and haulier groups.
Still feeling very apprehensive here. There's a lot riding on this meeting, so.
After confusion over whether protest organisers could attend the meeting, they were turned away from the Department of Agriculture.
We got on the train today, and when we got as far as the door, our names aren't on the list.
The National Emergency Coordination Group met today with concerns raised over a threat to supply chains and to the provision of essential services, including emergency response services and public transport. Diane Connor, RTE News.
Well, our correspondents and reporters have been monitoring the situation around the country throughout the day. Let's go first to our South East correspondent, Mark O'Driscoll, who's standing by at the Whitegate refinery. Mark, some tense scenes there earlier today.
That's correct, Vivian, and torrential rain all day here too. But the protesters here undeterred by the inclement weather. This began early this morning when a number of Garda negotiators arrived here. They began speaking to the protesters, but then at around 10:30 this morning, several Garda units moved in. We believe in the region of 60 to 70 Gardaí are still present here this evening. As you mentioned, that standoff continuing. Now at lunchtime, 2 tankers arrived here to the oil refinery. Protesters stepped aside. They said this was to facilitate these 2 tankers filling up and bringing fuel to the emergency services. But then later in the afternoon, it was when a third tanker arrived here that protesters said that no other tankers should be left into the facility here, and that's when the standoff began. A line was formed with public order Gardaí, and they did push the protesters back a significant distance, but now a standoff has ensued. Later in the afternoon, one of their members also climbed or scaled the tanker and was waving a tricolour for a period of time. He has since been taken down from the tanker and arrested by Garda, we understand. So Garda really treating this evening as an hour-by-hour situation, and just like the rain at the moment, Vivian, this protest doesn't appear to be stopping anytime soon.
OK, let's move to Dublin, and Samantha Library is in O'Connell Street. Samantha, what's been happening in the capital?
Well, Vivian, there's still more than 60 trucks, tractors and trailers lining both sides of O'Connell Street, parked up on the country's main thoroughfare. But the opening of the north and south quays to traffic from this morning has made the city a bit more movable today. There's more people and traffic moving around. And outside of the core of O'Connell Street, there is a sense that life is going on as normal. But the lines of agricultural vehicles here in the city centre remains a potent symbol of the impact that this protest is having here and across the country. Disruption to Dublin bus services is continuing. They're curtailed. They're not coming into the city centre. They're operating on the outskirts. Dublin Bus telling us that their numbers of passengers are down significantly over the last couple of days compared to normal with midweek services, and that they're also seeing congestion in other parts of the city as a result of what's happening in the core. The Lewis is continuing to operate either side of O'Connell Street, and the motorway network, as you heard there's still issues with blockages on the north and southbound areas around Dublin Airport. There's also some issues on the N7 this evening, but the Transport Infrastructure Ireland say that the lower volumes of people on the road mean that the impact isn't as severe as it was in previous days. The protesters are continuing to gather here behind me at the top of O'Connell Bridge this evening, and you have this really strange juxtaposition of a kind of almost festival atmosphere with music and people in good spirits, and you have tourists and locals indeed climbing into tractors, taking selfies and videos with the protesters. But on the other side of it, you have the local businesses saying that they're feeling the impact of these protests. The Restaurants Association saying that it's impacting on footfall and deliveries, and they're concerned as we go into the weekend in relation to that. And as you heard in the reports there earlier, there's a mixed view in relation to these protests. Some people saying that they support them, others saying that they feel that the city is being held to ransom and asking the government to take action in relation to that. The Garda Public Service, or the Public Order Unit, did visit the O'Connell Bridge earlier briefly today. They pulled up in a number of vehicles. They didn't get out and they moved on a short time later.
All right, Teresa Mannion is standing by in Galway. And Teresa, some of the protesters from there had travelled to Dublin, but they weren't allowed into that meeting with government. There's quite a considerable amount of anger about that.
Absolutely, Vivian. To say that these protesters are incensed is an understatement. 3 of the protesters here on the ground, representing the local protesters here at the docks, went to Dublin on the train with Peter Roach. He's the Fine Gael Galway East TD. He was here with the other TDs yesterday, engaging with the men, working hard at a local negotiating level, looking to try and work with them on being reasonable and a meeting of minds, so to speak. They went to Dublin. They thought they were going to meet the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach and sit in a room with other Hauliers and be seen and be heard. Instead, they were told their names weren't on the list. There were too many numbers. It was all just the rules. Whatever the reason and whatever happened, the optics are really bad this evening. Everything is in disarray. Peter Roach says he is hugely disappointed and frustrated. He said he couldn't get senior ministers on the phone, and they had worked so hard to get to this point in Dublin where there might be some progress towards resolving this crisis. Instead, this evening, these men here say they're in it for the long haul. They're going nowhere now. And the government say if the blockades aren't lifted, there'll be no package of measures either. So it's hard to see how this crisis is going to de-escalate going into the weekend.
Micheál Martin is standing by in Foynes in County Limerick. Micheál, what's the latest from there?
Yes, Vivian, we've moved indoors because of the heavy rain and hailstones here in County Limerick. There's been a lot of truck movements actually here at the Port of Foynes throughout the day, and that's because the protesters here voted for 5 fuel trucks to be allowed to pass the blockade earlier today. And the reason they said they facilitated those trucks to be allowed to pass is because those trucks were carrying fuel that would be used by the emergency services, ambulance and fire units throughout Limerick and the Midwest and Munster region. Trucks carrying animal feed have also been passing throughout the day, as have trucks carrying chemicals for the treatment of water. And the reason that this has happened, Garda say, is because of positive and constructive engagement with the protesters here in West Limerick. Now, that could change dramatically depending on the outcome of the talks in Dublin. They say that they might prevent trucks from leaving and accessing the depot depending on if there is a resolution or not in Dublin. Meanwhile, petrol stations, service stations throughout Limerick and Clare have run out of fuel, essentially. We passed many of them today, and on the pumps there are signs saying out of stock. There isn't a shortage of fuel here in the country. There's gallons and gallons of fuel at the depot here behind me at the Port of Foynes, but that fuel depot is behind a blockade.
All right, Petula, Teresa, Samantha and Mark, thank you.
Well, blockades of fuel depots in Limerick and Galway, as well as at the country's only refinery in Cork, are leading to fuel shortages countrywide. Forecourt retailers warn that by tonight, around 500 service stations could run dry. The situation is also affecting the wider economy, with business groups reporting a significant fall-off in trade.
4 days in, and blockades at key fuel facilities are having a major impact on forecourts. Hundreds of service stations, mostly in the south and west of the country, have run out of diesel and petrol. At the Foynes fuel terminal in Limerick, protesters are preventing tankers from accessing the site, which has had a knock-on effect an hour away in Blackwater in Clare.
Unfortunately, we ran out of diesel at 12 o'clock yesterday and we ran out of petrol at 5 o'clock yesterday. I suppose people are asking us when our next supply is coming in, and unfortunately I don't know.
A similar scenario is playing out in Galway, with a blockade at the depot in the harbour, choking fuel supply lines in the region.
Mayhem started yesterday around 10 o'clock. We had queues constantly till half 9 o'clock, half 9 last night. We ended up closing shop at half 9. We just just crazy all day. So at the moment we don't know when we're going to get fuel.
It's getting serious now. If it keeps going, it's going to cripple everybody.
I think it's great. It's about time people start standing up. Price of home heating oil, price of diesel, and they're only talking to farmers, transport, not the ordinary man.
Fuel is available, but amid the chaos it can't get where it's needed. Sitting in Galway Bay is the Thun Gemini, a tanker with 6 million litres of fuel that can't be unloaded because of full storage tanks in the port. The disruption is spreading. Dublin Port is accessible, but slow-moving convoys around the capital are creating issues restocking forecourts on the east coast.
Nationwide, there are forecourts out of stock. We need them to be fully restored as quickly as possible, the access to those sites. But even when that happens, it's going to take us a bit of time to catch up. You know, when we have 500 sites out of stock, that's going to take us up to a week to get into normal delivery patterns.
The reality of the protests is also crystallising in other parts of the economy. Retail Excellence Ireland says retail trade has fallen by half in recent days, while exporters are also feeling the effects.
Other companies, they're having problems getting getting their products to the port, so it's stuck en route on the port. They're missing shipping lines, some of them only going at 60 to 70% capacity at the moment.
Last week, the primary concern for both consumers and businesses was fuel price surges. Now it's quickly becoming one of supply.
And Angus joins us now. And Angus, a statement from the National Emergency Coordination Committee within the past hour, and they're warning that the impact of all of this is going beyond regular drivers at the pumps.
That's right, Tommy. The group is warning that fuel supplies for emergency response vehicles such as ambulances and fire engines are coming under increasing pressure, and that those vehicles, they rely on retail fuel forecourts for supply. They use fuel cards largely for that. The group is urging members of the public only to buy the fuel they need, not to buy any more than that, and also warning that storing fuel at home or in an unsafe location, that's a significant safety risk. The National Emergency Coordination Group this evening also pointing out that fire services, they've had to put contingency plans in place to manage restricted fuel supplies. Fire services, we're told, will cease non-essential activities, for example, training, and responses to non-life-threatening call-outs will be restricted. While the National Ambulance Service also trying to manage the impact of all of this, it will continue to respond to 999 calls and life-threatening and clinically urgent calls. Your inter-hospital transfers and ambulance transport services, they will all continue, but routine care and discharges, they are going to be curtailed. And finally, the group is also calling for the likes of people attending hospital appointments and care workers, Tommy, to be allowed safe access to their destinations amid all of these protests.
Angus Cox, thanks indeed.
Well, government ministers have been meeting organisations representing farmers and hauliers this afternoon to discuss further supports to deal with the high cost of fuel. Our political coverage editor, Joe McGreely, joins us now. Joe, is that meeting still going on?
Yes, Vivian, no final outcome yet because the meeting is still ongoing. But we understand from sources inside that what ministers told the representatives of those, the official groups, if you like, representing the hauliers and farmers, ministers told them that about the damage that the ongoing blockades are doing around the country, and they also said to them that the details of a new package that will be offered by the government, that they have not yet been fully finalised, and that work on those is going to continue by ministers over the weekend with input from the various representative associations. Now, as you've heard in the reports there, who wasn't in the room were any of the protesters. And it had been thought earlier on that perhaps some of them would be part of the Road Haulage Association delegation, because a meeting did take place in Buswell's Hotel close by to us here between the Road Haulage Association and some of the leaders of the protesters, including James Geoghegan and John Dallin. Now, ultimately, nothing came of that arrangement, and so they weren't admitted. None of them were admitted from the protesters' point of view here to the meeting. Meanwhile, it's also emerged this evening that James Geoghegan has had 6 previous revenue judgments against him for amounting to around €500,000, the most recent of which was just 2 weeks ago. Now, Mr. Geoghegan says that he has addressed those judgments and he has satisfied them, but the revenue commissioners are saying that they still have not been satisfied.
OK, Joe McGreely, thank you.
Well, it's now the 4th day of those fuel blockades, leading to petrol stations running dry, travel chaos and heightened tensions. As you heard there, today government ministers met with established representative associations to discuss a package of supports. However, 4 fuel protesters were refused entry. We can speak now to the Taoiseach and Minister for Finance, Simon Harris. And Minister Taoiseach, thanks indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Tommy.
On 6-1. That meeting is still ongoing, where discussions were underway on fuel supports. Can you tell me what will those supports be?
So I'm very grateful to all the representative bodies who've engaged really constructively and earnestly with the government today. I think those talks are going well. I think it's likely that further intensive engagement over the weekend, perhaps in smaller groups, will be required. And we're looking at a range of measures. We're very clear, and we've always been clear as a government, that further specific supports for key sectors of the economy, particularly around agri-food and supply chains, would be required. In the past, we've looked at things like how we can get direct funding schemes to our farmers. We've looked at things around credit supply lines, cash flow, and also at a European level, both myself and the Taoiseach working to see if we can get any flexibility around the Energy Tax Directive to give more scope to do more on that as well. So we're working at a range of issues.
Duty, basically.
We've already brought about reductions in excise duties. Is there more that could be done in that space that would require a degree of European agreement too? So a lot of intensive work going on. All of this is going on. We have heard the pain people are feeling, but the blockade has to end, and we've got to engage in a proper democratic way.
Is there a value on that package of measures that you're considering? Is it in the tens of millions, hundreds of millions?
So look, I want to be respectful to the talks that are underway, but it will be substantial and significant. And it is aimed to try and keep key sectors of our economy going at a time when there are real challenges. People are to the pin of their collar. People are under a lot of pressure. We want to make progress. We've been engaging extensively for quite a period of time now with key sectors, and that engagement will go through the weekend.
The protesters that are blockading key parts of the country at the moment want a price cap. Are you going to introduce that?
Price caps, quite frankly, don't work. What a price cap doesn't mean that the issue magics it away. What it means is the price transfers from the forecourt to the taxpayer. Lots of countries have tried this. It doesn't work, it doesn't make a difference, and it costs very, very significant amounts, potentially billions of euro over the course of a year as well. So we don't believe that's a way to proceed. But there are other ways, and I'd like to focus with representative bodies on what we can do. We've had enough of what we can't. What can we do together to get through this?
Why can't you allow the protesters to be involved in those discussions? Why were they refused entry today?
Because the position of the government has been crystal clear from day one. We engage with the democratically elected representative bodies, and many of them in the room today. And also, we can't have a situation where we're engaging with people who are blockading key parts of our country. We're trying to come up with economic solutions at the same time while blockades are causing significant economic damage to Ireland. And I've got to be very...
Sinn Féin leader, if I could put this point to you, she tweeted in the past short while describing the situation as an absolute shambles, saying that the government is escalating the crisis instead of doing your job. And she said it's time to pick up the phone.
Well, that's lovely rhetoric, but I mean, pick up the phone to who? To pick up the phone to who? Who is the democratically elected leader of this here?
There was 4 of them that turned up outside the department today. Yeah. You didn't have to pick up the phone, you could have let them in.
We live in a parliamentary democracy. We engage with the groups, but the people engaged in the blockades today, I've got to be honest, and I say to them, I say to their loved ones who'd like them home too, please, please step back from the brink. The economic damage that this blockade is doing to the country is real. I'm hearing from small businesses across the country running low on supplies. I'm hearing from our health services about cancer treatments that can't go ahead, missed hospital appointments, home health care that can't get out. We are at a very dangerous economic moment. We're showing good faith here, engaging intensively on a significant and substantial package. The blockade needs to end now, though.
Well, your own TD Peter Roche has said he's disappointed that these 4 protesters were not allowed in. And the trouble is now, it seems that they're more emboldened. There's reports of even more people turning up at the Galway depot. It seems like it's going to be even harder to resolve this.
No, the laws of the land will be applied. Nobody has a right to obstruct people's free movement in this country. Nobody has a right to decide who gets free passage. I've heard alarming things over the course of the last day. Certain people who are not elected by anyone will decide who can move around, what can get in and out of a depot. At a time of a global energy crisis, this country has adequate fuel supplies, but we cannot get those fuel supplies to key parts of our economy and society because of the illegal actions of some. The protest, the blockade needs to end. We will continue to do our job calmly, step by step, coming forward with practical measures to help people who are under pressure. But please, please step back from the brink.
It's now day 4 of this demonstration, and if you're not talking directly to them, well then why haven't you moved them? Because many people will point out that this is not how other groups in society have protested in the past on this scale, in this way. People will point out if they were to leave their cars parked in the middle of O'Connell Street, they will be moved swiftly. Why were these protesters not removed on day 1?
So the Garda obviously went through operational processes and sought to engage. But let me be very clear. We cannot and will not tolerate a situation where fuel cannot get to key parts of our country. And as people will see, there are now active Garda operations underway. They will continue. We want this to be resolved calmly. We want people to know they've been heard, they have made their point, and now is the time to step back. But if people choose not to step back, the laws of the land will be applied.
And are you confident that actually the Garda, and with the help of the Defence Forces, that they actually have the capabilities of moving these demonstrators?
I am, but you know what I'm also confident of? That people in this country are decent and full of common sense. And I know there's a lot of emotion at the moment. I know there's a lot of stress. I really do. People are to the pin of their collar. But we're appealing now to the decency of people as well. The laws are there. The laws will be enforced. Action will be taken to make sure fuel can flow around this country at this moment of grave economic concern. But I'm also appealing to the basic decency of people and their families. It is time to go home. We will work our way through this. We hear you in terms of the significant pressure certain sectors are under, but everybody's in this country is under pressure in different ways. Please don't think your pressure is more important than a cancer patient trying to get to an appointment, somebody trying to get dialysis, someone trying to get a blood transfusion, or a small business trying to operate. Schools are back next week. It's time for a bit of common sense here.
On that point, are you afraid that lives are at risk here? Because we saw a very concerning statement in the past hour from the National Emergency Coordination Group in terms of how ambulance and fire engines are going to keep operating when so many of the service stations around the country are running dry.
I'm extremely concerned. I don't think the word protest adequately adequately captures what is happening in our country now. This is an extremely dangerous moment, economically dangerous, economically damaging, but beyond that, damaging in terms of the running of our emergency services. People have made their point, they've been heard, we're under no illusion about the pressures they're under, we're engaging with rep bodies in good faith, we'll keep at it over the weekend. More help and support will come, but we will do that through the normal, calm, democratic way. Please step back from the brink.
Taoiseach Simon Harris, thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1.